You are watching Access LaPorte County, Channel 97. Coming up next is the July 13th, 2022 meeting of the LaPorte County Sheriff Merit Commission. You can find more information on this meeting by visiting www.accesslaportecounty.org.
Good morning. I'd like to welcome everyone to the July 13th, 2022 meeting of LaPorte County Sheriff's Department Merit Board. If you'd please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. Mrs. Francis Coney, if you would.
I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Did all members receive the minutes from last month's Merit Board meeting? Are there any corrections to the minutes? Hearing none, I have a motion to accept.
So moved.
Have a motion to have a second.
Second.
Motion second. Any questions? All in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same. Thank you. Good morning, Sheriff.
Good morning, Mr. President. How are you, board members? It's good to have you here today. It's also good to have some young people that we're particularly proud of today, and we're able to recognize them. We do have a lot on our agenda, and I know we all have things that we need to do. So we'll get started with the agenda if you don't mind.
Sure, go right ahead.
The first item on the agenda is our activity. As you can see, our calls for service increased 13% from the month of May to the month of June. In May, we responded to 2,022 calls for service, while in June, we responded to 2,291 calls for service. We did have a 39% increase in crashes from May to June, which was 69 in May to 96 in June. And the number of traffic stops increased during that time period by 45%. Citations also increased by 41%. I would say that still the number one complaint that we receive here at the Sheriff's Office is complaint about driving behavior. And again, a lot of that is because of people having cell phones and able to call us as they're actually observing these violations out on the roadway. Our afternoon shift patrol saw a 3% increase in their call load from May to June, while the afternoon shift had a 23%, I'm sorry, that should be a day shift, had a 23% increase in call volume. The midnight shift had a 6% decrease in calls for service, and so far this year, our department calls for service are down 19% when compared to last year at this time, January 1st through June 30th. That is slowly, that percentage is slowly creeping down. We're getting more and more calls for services. We're getting into the summer months, but it is good news that we are down overall from the previous month. I think I told you last month that a 10-year perspective is shown that our calls for service are up about 30% during that 10-year period. We did respond to 10 calls for service at Franciscan Health in Michigan City in June, which was one less than the number of calls we answered in May. The next item on the agenda is what I alluded to at the beginning of the meeting, is that we're really pleased to have some young people here that we're able to recognize, and through this recognition, we're able to keep the memory and the legacy of Neil Thompson alive. So this year's 2022 Neil Thompson Memorial Scholarship winners include Alexis Becker, who is the daughter of Brian and Leslie Crook, Roman Piergalski, who's the daughter of Brian and Ursula Piergalski, and Nicholas Boyd, who's the daughter of John and Amy Boyd. I'd like Alexis to come forward so we can present her with her certificate. I'm sorry?
You read it wrong.
I'm sorry, what did I say? Oh, I'm sorry. Okay. Apologize. Sorry, Roman. Sorry, Nicholas. Alexis, we're really proud of you, and we congratulate you on winning the 2022 Neil Thompson Scholarship Award. So if you could take a couple of minutes, and if you will introduce yourself and give a little bit of background, where you went to school, where you're planning on going to school, some of your future dreams and aspirations, and some of your interests.
No, okay.
You're talking to the microphone.
Okay. I'm Alexis Becker. I went to LaPorte High School. I'm going to IU in Bloomington. I'm going to study psychology, and I hope to do clinical psychology with it. And I'm also minoring in sociology. And I like to hang out with friends and go to the beach and such like that.
Thank you so much, Alexis. Congratulations to you. Our next winner is Roman Piergalski. He is the son of Brian and Ursula Piergalski. So if you could come forward, Roman. Congratulations to you. We're very, very proud of you. And if you could provide a little information to the Mayor Commission as well.
Sir. Hi, I'm Roman Piergalski. I graduated from New Prairie High School, and I'm going to Nova Southeastern University to major in marine biology. I want to do like scuba diving and stuff down there too, and hopefully graduate and create programs for people to better the environment. And I work at the beach. I like to work, like to hang out with friends. So yeah, that's it.
Thank you. Roman, real quick, which beach do you work at?
Washington Park Beach.
And what do you do there?
I'm a lifeguard.
And you've been very instrumental in some life saving this year, haven't you?
Yes, sir.
We're really proud of you.
Thank you.
Congratulations. Our next award winner is Nicholas Boyd, the son and daughter of Amy Boyd and me. So Nicholas, if you could come forward. Congratulations. Thank you. There you go.
Hi, my name is Nick Boyd. I went to New Prairie High School, and I plan on attending Butler University to study finance and hopefully play tennis. I'd like to, when I graduate, get out into the business world and explore there and see what I can do. And in my spare time, I like to hang out with friends, play basketball, play wiffle ball, and play tennis. So that's about
Congratulations.
it. Thank you.
As we've spoken about in here before, Mayor Commissioners, the Neil Thompson Scholarship is managed by the Unity Foundation of LaPorte County, and they really have grown this scholarship. I know Mrs. Francisconi provided a financial overview of it several months ago. They also manage the application and the award process. We really enjoy this partnership that we have with Unity, and we're really pleased with their management of our funds and the scholarship itself. And it's really important that we invest in young people and that we're able to recognize young people for doing such great things within their schools, their academics, and within their community and LaPorte County as well. But while we do this, just importantly is that we're continuing that legacy of Neil Thompson, and we're ensuring that the sacrifice that he and his family made, it doesn't fade. And we do that through the Neil Thompson Scholarship Award. But as I congratulate these young people, I'd also like to congratulate their parents, because they are a great reflection of you and your upbringing and your values. So I'd like to give a round of applause to the parents that are here. I just can't emphasize enough how proud I am of you. So thank you all for being here. I know the Unity Foundation hasn't been in touch with you, and in years past you'll remember that we presented them a check, but that was before Unity took over. So the Unity Foundation is actually sending the distribution of their scholarship to the universities so it can be applied towards their tuition and their studies itself. So that's why we're not providing them with a presentation of the checks, just the certificates. We did get pictures of them just prior to this meeting. So again, congratulations, award winners. The next item on the agenda is an update about Deputy Nate Albanese. He is currently in phase 2 of the field training program. He is assigned to the midnight shift. He's being exposed to a lot. He's had a lot of different exposures, especially in the last couple of weeks of incidents, and he's learning how to properly address and how to handle these situations. Deputy Gorney is in field training as well, and he's currently assigned to the afternoon shift. His progress, which is really quite good, is being evaluated on a weekly basis, and the completion of his training is not known. He is in an accelerated program. He's doing well, but it's just difficult for us to project right now. One of the areas in which most people have some difficulty is location and orientation, and we see that may be one of his only areas where he needs additional training, but that isn't uncommon. Deputies Disbro and Sanchez are still riding with field training officers, and although they're not certified yet, they've been very helpful for us at events such as Red Wine and Brew and the Bethany Fireworks. Next item is that Deputy Alex Clemens and his canine partner Miko successfully completed their training at Von Lick Kennels in Peru. Miko has been recertified and the two have bonded and are assigned to the afternoon shift. As previously reported, because of Detective Dan Kessling's resignation and the retirement from merit by Major Heath Africamp, we now have 2 positions available. We closed our application acceptance period on May 20th, and unfortunately we only received 5 applications. 1 applicant withdrew and 2 participated in the physical agility testing and the written examination. Of those 2, 1 failed the physical agility testing. The other passed the physical agility testing, but then went on to the written examination and failed that. Thank you, Jim Miller, for coming out and supervising and helped to proctor the testing process. We appreciate your time there. There are 2 other applicants who we hope to test near the end of this month. One is an out-of-state certified officer, and the other is a former officer who's been out of law enforcement for a number of years, but is experienced. We will be opening up our applications again here very soon, but our struggles aren't uncommon to other struggles that are happening throughout the state, throughout the nation with attracting good qualified applicants. On Friday, June 10th, deputies responded to the back parking lot of Round the Clock Restaurant in LaPorte to assist the LaPorte Police Department with an armed suicidal man. The man had a loaded handgun pointing to his head, and attempts were made to negotiate with him. After some time, deputies took an opportunity to rapidly deploy 4 shotgun-launched, less lethal rounds, and he was eventually taken into custody and transported for treatment and psychiatric care. Then, in accordance with LaPorte County Sheriff's Office General Order 7-0003, Use of Force Policy, a shooting review board was convened, and after learning the circumstances of the incident, reviewing the reports and weighing the facts, the board ruled that the use of force was justified to stop the individual's actions and his threats. Next item is somewhat similar. 2 days later, on Sunday, June 12th, deputies were summoned to the 300 block of Park Street in the city of LaPorte to assist the LaPorte Police Department with an armed suicidal man. The male was standing in the middle of Park Street with a handgun pointing to his head. Attempts were made to negotiate with him for some time, and when an opportunity arose, deputies deployed 6 shotgun-launched 40 millimeter less lethal rounds, and they successfully disoriented him, enabling deputies and officers to take him into custody. He was then transported for treatment and ultimately psychiatric care. In accordance with LaPorte County Sheriff's Office General Order 7-0003, the Use of Force Policy, a shooting review board was convened, and after learning the circumstances of the incident, reviewing reports, and weighing the facts, the board ruled that the use of force is justified to stop the individual's actions and threats. That being said, we do have several letters of commendation that are in association with those incidents. And the first was an email that I had sent immediately after that to Captain Brian Pergalski, Sergeant Jeff Wright, Sergeant Jim Lear, Deputy Tyler Oberholzer, and Deputy Micah Hatley. This weekend was a very volatile weekend in LaPorte County that included several calls for service with individuals who were experiencing critical mental health issues and were armed with firearms. In each case, the individuals had apparently hit rock bottom in their minds, and suicide was a means to resolve it. Your actions, however, disoriented and distracted them, stopped their intended actions, and enabled them to be taken into custody so that they could receive psychiatric intervention. It became the goal of the department several years ago to transition away from the traditional shotguns into shotguns that were solely intended to deliver less lethal munitions. While that goal was satisfied, ultimately it takes training, tactical ability, and confidence to deliver the munitions on target during a highly stressful, critical incident. This weekend, each of you had done just that, and as a result, 2 lives were undoubtedly saved. In addition, you prevented the families of these loved ones from the emotional trauma of dealing with their deaths. Your actions have kept families whole. Yet another consequence of your action is the increased confidence of the public that we are preserving lives, no matter how desperate a suicidal person may be. Your actions continue to make our star shine brightly. I would like to commend each of you for your bravery, sound tactics, and the ability to react and deliver under the most stressful of circumstances. This email will be placed in each of your permanent personnel files, and each of you are eligible for the Department Life Saving Award. Respectfully, Sheriff John Boyd. In addition to that, we received a letter of commendation that was written by Captain Brian Pergalski regarding both of these incidents, and the letter is dated June 13th. On Friday, June 10th, at approximately 4:20 in the afternoon, LaPorte County Sheriff's Office afternoon shift responded to assist the LaPorte Police Department for a suicidal subject with a weapon in the rear parking lot of Round the Clock Restaurant in LaPorte. Sergeants James Lair and Scott Laneau, along with deputies Tyler Oberholzer and Nathan Albanese, made the scene to assist with less lethal munitions. In a relatively brief time of negotiations with the male subject who was holding the gun to his head, the decision was made that less lethal munitions would be applied if the opportunity presented itself. That opportunity soon came, with both Sergeant Lear and Deputy Oberholzer firing less lethal beanbag rounds at the suspect, immobilizing him and enabling him to be taken into custody without further incident. As a result of quick thinking and precision applications of less lethal beanbag rounds, not only did Sergeant Lear and Deputy Oberholzer save the life of the suspect, they courageously protected fellow officers on scene, as well as the citizens of LaPorte County. On Sunday, June 12th, at approximately 4:54 p.m., LaPorte County Sheriff's Office afternoon shift deputies were all scanning radio traffic of surrounding police agencies when they heard LaPorte Police Department dispatched to a shots fired call in the 300 block of Park Street. Upon hearing LaPorte police officers arriving on scene, they immediately radioed that there was a male subject standing in the street and holding a gun to his head. Myself, along with Sergeant Scott Laneau and Deputies Tyler Oberholzer, Evan Doporowski, Nathan Albanese, Shane Landry, and Micah Hatley, responded to assist. Deputy Oberholzer was the first to arrive on scene with LaPorte police officers. Upon my arrival and on foot approach to the scene, I observed Deputy Oberholzer standing behind the passenger side of a LaPorte Police Department vehicle, speaking with the suspect, who was now standing on the sidewalk. I want to further describe the overall scene at this point in time. It was a beautiful sunny Sunday afternoon and there were a lot of people out about enjoying the day. The suspect was standing in between the Polish National Alliance building and JJ's Bar, with both establishments busy with patrons. There were also many residents outside their homes in the immediate area. To put it mildly, it was chaotic. As all officers and deputies converged on the scene, citizens were quickly asked to leave the immediate area for their safety and roadblocks were set. I then received a phone call from Sergeant Jeff Wright, who was off duty but heard the call on the radio, and he was outside building a new gazebo in his backyard. He made clear that he was en route to assist us and that he was bringing his 40mm less lethal weapon along with him in case it was needed. I proceeded to the area behind JJ's Bar, and the remainder of the deputies assisted with perimeter control on Park Street. When Sergeant Wright arrived on scene, he assisted my perimeter position from the rear. Our vantage point was almost completely obstructed view of the suspect's rear side, literally from head to toe. Deputy Oberholzer had formed a bond with the suspect, and the two continued to talk while the suspect kept a pistol held under his chin, consuming cans of beer. LaPorte Police Sergeant Dyer was radioing updates as all officers on scene adhered to the LaPorte Police Department's radio channel. At one point, the suspect ran out of beer and walked towards the house, lowering the gun to his side as he was walking. He soon returned outside with new cans of beer and then set the gun down on a fence section so to use both hands to open the can. Sergeant Dyer relayed this information, but not before the suspect picked the pistol back up and placed it back under his chin. I radioed to officers that, given a similar opportunity again, Sergeant Wright was prepared to utilize his assigned 40mm less lethal firearm, and we would need officers with additional less lethal weapons to follow through and possibly further beanbag rounds in order to incapacitate the suspect and take him into custody. Deputy Oberholzer talking with the suspect, calming him down once again after we had failed to detain him. Another plan was made, and the street level closest to the suspect, that the deputies with less lethal munitions would take action if the suspect presented another opportunity, and a while later he did just that. Deputies Oberholzer and Hatley fired several rounds at the suspect, and the remaining officers converged on him, effectively incapacitating him and separating him from the firearm in order to place him into custody. For more than 4 hours, officers and deputies were on scene with the suspect, and the entire time Deputy Oberholzer spoke with him in attempts to disarm him. At the right moment, Deputy Oberholzer's quick actions of firing less lethal beanbag rounds at the suspect, along with Deputy Hatley's follow-up round, effectively removed the threat of the suspect that he had previously posed. After the suspect was taken into custody, the remaining deputies took control of the scene, with Deputy Evan Doporowski locating and taking temporary custody of the suspect's firearm. Although the suspect received minor injuries as a result of his actions, no officers or citizens were injured in this incident. Given both dangerous incidents that occurred on June 10th and June 12th, I would like to commend Sergeant James Lear, Sergeant Jeff Wright, Deputy Tyler Oberholzer, Deputy Micah Hatley for their courageous and heroic actions in assisting to subdue two dangerous subjects who were holding loaded firearms to their heads. If not for the actions of these deputies, surely these incidents would have had more deadly outcome. I would like to commend Deputy David Grimberg, as he was the sole LaPorte County Sheriff's deputy patrolling the entire county, answering calls for service, while the rest of his shift assisted with this June 12th incident. Deputy Grimberg also answered calls for the LaPorte Police Department during this time, as they were busy as well. Additionally, Kingsford Heights Town Marshal Matthew Farthing came on duty, and Westville Deputy Marshal Nathan Cashman worked over his schedule hours in order to assist Deputy Grimberg in answering LaPorte County calls for service. I highly commend the service and actions of all of these officers named herein, as well as those officers in their supporting roles, because they are exemplary, selfless, and courageous human beings. I am extremely proud of them, and it is a pleasure to serve with all of them. Respectfully, Captain Brian Pergelski. I think that pretty well sums it up. This truly was all hands on deck. The fact that we were so busy with the LaPorte Police Department and other agencies noticed that we were busy. We only had one deputy for the entire county, the second largest county geographically in the state of Indiana. I guess is an example of just how shorthanded we are. We just don't have enough deputies when incidents like this happen or when we're busy. But I'm really proud of the training and the tactics, because during a critical incident, to be able to deliver those rounds when somebody is holding a firearm and could easily level at them, and they have to get close enough to be able to do that, there's no question that we preserve lives. And as you can see in the agenda, I have a few facts here that indicate that we've had a number of uses and deployments of less lethal munitions. In each usage, we've been able to successfully bring the incidents to a quick conclusion, and as a result, none of the individuals have been seriously hurt, nor were they able to take their own lives. This has also prevented our deputies and officers from being injured. Several years ago, we made an administrative decision to transition our shotguns to less lethal delivery systems, and each deputy has a patrol rifle, and the weapons were somewhat redundant. Aiding in our decision is the fact that our traditional shotguns are not capable of cycling these rounds through them. We therefore traded our shotguns for 52 less lethal shotguns that are to be only used for these specific munitions. They are highly colored, brightly colored, so that all of law enforcement know when these rounds are being deployed, which is really important because we don't want a sympathetic response when someone sees our weapons being utilized. Our firearms training staff and certified trainers assigned to our emergency response team provided the training for these systems. So we're really pleased with this transition that we've made, and as you can see, it's paid dividends and it has saved lives. Again, the letters of commendation have already been scanned and placed in the individual deputies' personnel files, and they are eligible for the life-saving awards. Red Wine and Brew was held on Friday, June 1st, as well as the fireworks and drone show on July 2nd. We had several deputies who were reassigned to provide security for the events, as well as a number of volunteers from our staff. There were no issues at either event, and everyone was very well behaved. Preliminary numbers indicate that on the first night, we don't have a count for the second night, but the first night, there were 6,500 people who attended that event. Our canine handlers and canines provided a demonstration on Friday, and everyone enjoyed watching the dogs and their handlers work. A special thank you to Captain Derek Allen for his planning and organization of our detail that was instrumental in the safe and successful event. Deputies helped with traffic on those nights, emptied the parking lots in 20 to 30 minutes. And believe me, there were a lot of cars. I don't know if you've seen it in the drone footage on social media of all the cars that were parked in that lot on 500 West, but there were a lot of cars. And I was absolutely amazed that they were able to empty those lots in 20 to 30 minutes. It was absolutely unbelievable. It was a really synchronized and efficient event in emptying of that lot. Which leads us right into the next item on the agenda, is the fact that the fair, as you probably are well aware, is in full swing. Our staff are really, really busy providing security services at the 8-day event. And by the end of the fair, our deputies will have worked more than 710 hours. And I can tell you, based on last night, it's going to be well in excess of 710 hours because we had a really long night. We had some of our deputies that Was a 16, 17-hour day for them yesterday, and they're back at it again today. It's really dusty out there. Yesterday it wasn't nearly as hot as it had been the previous 2 days, but it's really taxing. Some of them are working their shifts on top of this, and we appreciate what everyone is doing, and special kudos to Captain Dallas Smythe. He has just done an outstanding job. He's our officer in charge of the fair detail this week. He hasn't left any stone unturned. He's in constant communication with the fair board, and I know they're calling all the time because they have concerns, they have new edicts, or they want to bring something to our attention. I know on Saturday and Sunday he worked shift and then went out there and worked till midnight each night, came back the next day. He's been doing a great job. Captain Derek Allen, Sergeant Brett Swanson, they've been in charge of the security detail for the entertainment out there, specifically the headliner concert last night and tonight. They've been backstage and they've helped to make sure that the headliners, the acts that are out there are safe, all the participants and those in the crowd are safe as well, and that's not been easy. I know last night they had to help get a couple of people out who had medical issues, and in the, for lack of a better term, the mosh pits up front, I think there were 1,500 people standing right in front of the stage, and they had to actually get in there and find people who had gone down because they had medical issues. They had to help EMS get in there and separate the crowd. They just did a great job. It helps to have a couple of spotters up on the stage so they can see what's happening and relay the information. But I'm really proud of how professional everyone has been out there. They've been patient with everybody. From our clerical staff that's working in our security building, to our mounted posse that's out there, and to our deputies, jail deputies, correctional deputies, and our merit deputies that are working foot patrol and the gates as well. It's gone really well. Next month meeting is Wednesday, August 10th at 9 a.m. and you'll see the Warrants Division, Detective Bureau, and Jail Monthly reports are attached. And to our families, I apologize about the daughter comment. It's been kind of a long week. I'm sorry I missed that. Nicholas, not so much.
What was the comment? Can you repeat it? I missed it.
Yes. I introduced the Neil Thompson Scholarship Award winners. Alexis Becker, daughter of Brian and Leslie Crook; Roman Pergalski, daughter of Brian and Ursula Pergalski; and Nicholas Boyd, daughter of John and Amy Boyd. I apologize.
Well, it's been a long week.
It has been.
If I would have known that was going to happen, I do have a button up here. I could have disconnected your mic. Yeah.
What's going on?
Are there any comments from the, I'm sorry, are you finished, Chair?
Mrs. Francisconi, how was that?
Right on, thank you.
Are there any comments from the floor?
I just have two completely different things. One is a housekeeping issue. I would just ask that per section 6.2 of our rules and regulations, when somebody turns down a promotion, they go to the bottom of the list. When this happened last time, we republished the actual list. So I would ask that the merit board republish the majors list in accordance with 6.2. And the second thing is I want to recognize, and I intend to write a letter for this as well. Last night we have a member of the midnight shift that has COVID. Obviously we're stressed for manpower right now. It's summertime, everybody's on vacation, and we had Deputy Sweet, who again in the height of vacation time, the heart of the summer, week of the fair, gave up his vacation time so his fellow shiftmates weren't short. And I just think it's something that needs to be recognized. That's pretty admirable to he gave up his vacation time to come to work for a fellow deputy and for the rest of his shift. So that's all. Thank you.
Thank you, Captain. Any other comments from the floor? Comments from the floor. Hearing none, comments are closed. Comments from the board. Jim?
I just want to congratulate the scholarship recipients and their families for a job well done. I also want to thank the deputies that were involved in the two critical incidents that the sheriff described. Also, job well done. Excellent work.
Ms. Mock?
To those.
Laura?
Yeah, to Captain Hynek. if you could submit that information for the Beyond the Expected, that would be nice. And you can do that anytime. It doesn't have to wait till the end of the year. You can do that now. And then congratulations to all the high school graduates, and I wish you much success in your education and your endeavors.
Jim?
Yes, I also would like to congratulate the recipients of their awards and enjoy college.
Thank you. Brian, it kind of echoing what Laura said, you had a off-duty individual who was working in his yard. Again, that's the type of thing we're looking for the Beyond the Expected. So if you could assist us on that, it would be greatly appreciated. And thank you. The feeling that we all felt, I think, the weekend of June 12th, 10th through the 12th was pretty incredible. Knowing that due to the actions and the training that the individuals received, LaPorte County, Indiana, USA was not the headline news on international news. Had something different happened, had someone's life been taken, I'm sure that we would have been the headline news on CBS, NBC, CNN, whatever. But because of that and because of the training that everyone's received, it was kind of a short-lived news media event. I don't think it was really brought up very long, but and that's what I think the purpose is just to get in there, get action taken care of with as few injuries as possible. I'm sure that there's some bruising or something that goes on with those lethal, whatever they are, the less lethal rounds. But again, kudos to everybody who was involved in that. Captain, thank you for your shift for doing what they did. Appreciate it. I do also want to congratulate the Neil Thompson scholarship winners. Nick, one advice I have for you is if you're ever walking around and you pick up a cat, just make sure that Andy's not around to get a picture. Otherwise, that will be published every year, probably from now until the time you're no longer around. So that's one thing I think we always look forward to every year from this last Saturday on. So hopefully that will continue to be published, Captain Heineck. So appreciate that. My neighbor who asked to remain nameless wanted to send out kudos to Deputy Masterson. They had medical issues at his home a couple of weeks ago, and Masterson was the first responding unit there. He put his family at great ease, very comforting the way he discussed things with him. Sheriff, I did request that he send in a letter so it could be put on his packet, and he's working on that. So we'll get that taken care of. Promotional testing in the classes. I mentioned last month I am going to be getting with the major. We'll contact the individual who conducted the last classes. We want to get those dates out probably by the end of September, first part of October, so that it doesn't have the conflicting problems with vacations like we've had the last couple years. So maybe we can get that out a little bit earlier, even though we're not required, I think, to have it out till November. But again, we want to work with everybody so that they can enjoy some family time on vacations that they've been saving for. So we will certainly do our share to see what we can come up with on that. So that's all there is. Any other questions before we back up? Okay. May I have a motion to adjourn?
Still moved.
Have a motion to have a second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Meeting adjourned at 9:37 a.m.